Hey, boy, how you doing? So, the other day I was deciding to just pull a movie from my collection just to get another one of my. I still have a lot of movies that I haven't shared with you. My collection is some 2,000 deep. And now this is 300 and something odd video, so we're a long way from the end of that tunnel. And also, a good chunk of the movies I've reviewed on here have also pulled off of streaming, so I've only made a small dent. So, I've been doing it a bit scattershot for a lot of the movies I pull off. Occasionally I'll grab a collection and work through it, like I'm doing with Friday the 13th right now. Or no, I did for like my Mega Shark collection. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll just pick and choose, like when I pulled Killer Clowns recently. Or, I don't know, someone really I did recently for it. But I decided that I was going to watch, there was a collection I pulled one movie off of a long time ago, so I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole collection right coming up, but I want to at least go for one or two onto it, at least, especially since it's a 12 movie collection. So I asked my partner, Killer Puppets or Scary Clown? She responded that I just watched a Scary Clown movie, though whether it's scary or not is the right term for killer clowns, so go Killer Puppets. And so I was bringing out my Full Moon Puppet Master Killjoy collection. Now, back in my first year, I reviewed Killjoy. That was a scary clown question here. And wow, I did that during my February, where I was trying to watch bad movies the entire month, and it worked by the end. Killjoy was one of them. Now, I believe I rated it a 1 back then, and under my new rating system, which is a lot more nuanced, I would still give Killjoy a 1 MacGuffin. But that's down here. We are currently up here in the Puppet Master section. Now, I've been a big fan of the Puppet Master series for years. Ever since I was pulling them off of TV for the first couple of them. There was a Puppet Master marathon, and I recorded as many of them as I could, and got a kick out of them. So, it's also one of those ones that, back just perusing the VHSs in a video store where they'd have like 5 Puppet Master movies, and they all looked, they were eye-catching. So, I have had a soft spot for Puppet Master for a long time. It's, personally, I think it's one of the best Full Moon movies, because Full Moon is synonymous with cheese and over the top. And we do Evil Bong, we do Killjoy, Ginger Dead Man. But back in the 80s, they actually had some more serious movies, like Lovecraft, a Lovecraft adaptation for The Lurking Fear. They did Castle Freak. Puppet Master was another one. Subspecies. A bunch of movies that actually had some teeth to them. Well, rather than just being silly for silly's sake. And yeah, Puppet Master became sort of their best named one, so it got increasingly ridiculous as it went along, but the first couple are, well, I really enjoyed. And even some of the latter ones, I can't say I dislike them, with the exception of Lego Legacy. But we'll discuss that one when we get to it. Anyway, Puppet Master. So, Andre Toulon was a old puppet master who discovered the secrets of bringing inanimate things to life using Egyptian secrets. And because of that, Nazis want him dead. Who didn't want the Nazis want dead? Anyway, Toulon goes in some of the sequels later that Toulon actually was actively fighting Nazis using his puppets, particularly in Puppet Master 3, but we'll get to Puppet Master 3 later. So, He hides his secret in a California hotel and blows his own brains out to avoid the Nazis. Years later, a group of psychics is psychically summoned to that hotel by Neil, a man that they all worked for before, who was trying to find Andre Toulon's secret and find the secrets of the old puppet master. Well, they go there and find out that, oh, Neil's dead. Why have we all been called here? Well, they start trying to aid the widow in funeral preparations, but mostly they're just kind of baffled because since Neil gave orders that he wasn't to be buried until they all arrived. And then over the course of the night, little puppets start murdering. Yep. As it was mostly a ploy by Neil, who is now semi-puppety himself, as he's become immortal and wants to essentially dispose of all the people who know about him. Okay. And the puppets are now acting as his allies and minions until he disrespects the puppets and they turn on him. It's very simple, though. But it makes up for that in just creativity on the puppet designs and the inventiveness of some of the kills. The puppets themselves are very eye-catching. Jester, Blade, Pinhead, Leech Woman, Tunneler. I saw these movies when I was much younger, and I can still name pretty much all the puppets just off the top of my head. They are very memorable. Particularly, I've always loved the look of Blade. Just the black coat, skull-like narrow skull-like face, and then a hook and switchblade for hands. Now, the movie's a bit campy, sure, but in an enjoyable way. The psychics are reacting to things along the house, and the puppets creep around using some first-person shots to indicate them running around. And I will say the puppetry effects on them, either when they're using stop motion or some of the other ways of going about it, work pretty well. The effects aren't great, but they work well enough. And the gore effects there's not many of them, but they are decent. So, it's one of those weird animals where the movie itself is... A lot of the effects only go so far, but for me it just kind of holds that sort of a place, and I love the characters of the puppets, and as the series goes on, you start getting more of the personality of the puppets themselves, and that adds something to it. But as a standalone, Puppet Master is a decent little horror film. Even if the puppets are on screen, not nearly enough. You want to see more of them. It's more about the problems that Neil has caused rather than the puppets themselves. They seem to have remedied that in Puppet Master 2 and 3. But... let's see, I think that's really all I've got on this one, other than to give it a rating, and I've been wavering on that for a while, because it is a full moon film, so that does add a little bit of a caveat that it's only can be so good. But this has got to be, in my opinion, probably the best of the full moon films. And it did launch, oh god, how many sequels now? I mean, I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on here. And then there's at least 1 or 2 more, plus a spin-off that's just about Blade, so they just keep milking this thing. Well, I can give the original Puppet Master 6 MacGuffins. It does have its flaws, but it's enjoyable. And for me, it has a special heart. Nostalgia kind of makes me want to rate it higher, but objectively, it's above average, but not great. But I like it. So, if you want to see some cool design killer puppets, take a look. Puppet Master. 89. Full moon at its best.